here with Heath Clawson, the head football coach for the Elgin Wildcats. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing very well. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So one of the things I'm trying to do with these series of interviews is kind of highlight the way coaches wind up where they are, what their career path has been as a coach. So if you don't mind, take us through your coaching stops, various coaching stops from the beginning to where you are now.
Sure. Well, when I realized that, thought the good Lord said, He wanted me to be a coach when I was a sophomore in college. I said, okay, let me figure this thing out. And of course, I had started out doing some other things. I was looking to be an engineer and looked at going into marketing and stuff like that. And so I didn't take some of those courses in my undergrad. And so I actually ended up getting hired without, I basically on an emergency certification at Del Valley High School outside of Austin. And so then I had to go through I took my CNI courses and stuff in grad school and all that. And then I took my test after I'd already been working for a couple of years at Del Valley. And so that's how I kind of got started with it and spent 2 years there at Del Valley. And it was pretty neat. My first year, Del Valley hadn't made the playoffs in 35, I think it was 35 years or something like that. Yeah, 1967. So that was 2002, and we made the playoffs that year. That was pretty fun in a tough district. And, so that's how I got kicked off, and then I went to a smaller school south of San Antonio, to Poth. After that, for a couple of years, and enjoyed that. Got to see how things work, from the coaching side as on a at a small school, and then I got a chance. Said I want to go big time, and got a chance to go to Highland Park in Dallas from there, and jumped on that opportunity. And I started dating my wife now at that time, and so she was going to school at Texas State, and said, hey, can you get closer? I said, well, if I get a coordinator opportunity, I will. Otherwise, Highland Park's a great place, and I was enjoying it there. I got a chance to be a coordinator, defensive coordinator for the first time. Coach Eugene Rogers was the head coach at Manor. And so I came right back down the road from where I started at Del Valley at Manor, and we ended up winning the district championship that year. And but Coach Rogers didn't come back, and so the guy who was the best man at my wedding was coaching over at Bernie Champion, and said, hey, we got a spot open. And so I went over there and co-coordinated the offense with him for 3 years. Had a state quarterfinal berth there, and in my third year, and that was a lot of fun. In the meantime, my dad had passed away, and so said I need to get a little closer to my mom, because she was up between Waco and Fort Worth, where I'm from, in Meridian. And so I got a chance at Copper's Cove, which top 10 team at the time. And so I went and coached there for a year, and so I was a little closer to do things for my mom and help her out a little bit on our place. And then I said, okay, it's kind of time to get back on my career path that I was, planning on, basically. And so I got a couple of coordinator opportunities. I ended up taking one close to my wife's home at Poteet, down south of San Antonio. So I went down there for a couple of years, and from there got a call again from Coach Ressa, who was at Newman Smith in Carrollton, and he had tried to get me before and asked me again. He had his OC spot open, and so I went up there and did that for a couple of years, and got my first opportunity to be an AD head coach at Louise, down close to Houston, after a couple of years at Newman Smith, and just really enjoyed that for 3 years, and trying to get that going. And we ended up having our first child at that time, and I decided to take an assistant job at Aledo, and it was right down the road from where my mom was. So we went up there for 2 years, and I said, I kind of want to get back to being, an AD head coach again. I want to give that path that I was hoping, for a long time as a dream. So I want to get back on that and do that. And I got the opportunity here at Elgin. So I'm just enjoying it. I haven't been here quite a year yet, so just trying to get things going the way we want them.
Now, you mentioned a few names as you went through there of people that you've worked with that have mentored you throughout your career. as a coordinator and as a head coach, that is a bit of your role, that of coaching coaches, preparing coaches for whatever is going to be next for them. Talk a little bit about that mentor role as a head coach.
Well, yeah, that's a huge part of it, and that's something that I take a lot of pride in and enjoy. You know, trying to let those guys, you know, kind of do what they want to do, and so that they feel comfortable and free to kind of make mistakes and, you know, and learn from them and stuff like that. And then, you know, when I see things either I want done a little bit differently, or I see where we can improve or make some adjustments, then we discuss that, you know, and I try to let them kind of, you know, implement those things that we've talked about so that it's theirs, you know. You know, I feel like you hire good people to do a job, and so you let them do the job and support them and help them, you know, to do that. And I think that there's been several people along the way who I thought have done a great job of that, you know, and just came from Alito. Coach Buchanan does a great job of that. You know, when you get good people in positions, you know, you let them make your organization better. You know, you let them do their job, because it takes a lot of people. Nobody can do what we do, especially by ourselves. And so when you find good people to do jobs, then you let them do it. You know, and they take ownership, you know, of those roles. And you know, Coach Allen does a great job of that at Highland Park. I got a chance to learn from him. Coach Threadgill, when I was at Bernie Champion, was fantastic at that as well. You know, it's something that, you know, I've learned from over the years, from some great you know, leaders, some great men, and something that I took from my own experiences, hoping that, you know, I could take either things that I felt I was good at, or you know, my strengths or whatever, and bring them to the table so that we could make, you know, things a lot better. And then I could also take some things off the plate, you know, of the head guy and stuff. And so I feel like that those things that I learned, I'm trying to implement those things, and that's kind of how I try to mentor these guys. And one of the big things that I've I guess appreciated over the years are the guys in charge that really do a good job of taking care of the people that work for them, you know. And I've been blessed to coach with some fantastic coaches, some fantastic men along the way, and I got a chance to bring some of them here with me. And you know, I just do everything I can to try to take care of them so that they can do their job as well.
Now, one of the aspects that it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether it be 2A or 6A, is community involvement. The role of the school, the role of athletics in the community. And I believe we've talked about it before, but you know, one of the first things you did there at Elgin was on the junior high level, is to start getting that buy-in from the community at the elementary, the junior high levels. So talk a little bit about that community buy-in, the community involvement.
Sure. You know, every place is different. Every place has different dynamics. Every place has things that they've done for a long time a certain way. You know, and it may be great, or it might be something that needs to be adjusted or changed. But that's not always something that's met with, you know, excitement. You know, we get comfortable in certain ways, you know. And so, you know, when I came in and some of the things that I talked about and suggested and said we need to do, some of them were like, man, that's awesome, let's do that, you know, or yeah, that's something we've been trying to do, or whatever. And then some of them was like, ooh, I don't know about that, you know. And so we've had to have a lot of discussions with that. And you know, we've really done some things here in just a short time that has started to you know, get things going the way that we would like to. But you know, we have an interesting dynamic here, that we are a fast-growing district, and you know, ever since I got here, all I've heard is we're a small town, we're a small district, and all that sort of stuff. And you know, when a place has been like that for a long time, and they all of a sudden get that extreme growth, everybody's not always ready for that, you know, and not everybody wants that, which is definitely understandable. But you know, we are are growing very fast. And, I mean, I haven't even been here a year, and just the high school, we've gained, well over 100 kids, and that's going to continue, maybe even faster now that, there's just houses going up everywhere here. And so there are a lot of people consistently moving in who aren't from Elgin, haven't been a part of, the Elgin community and stuff. And so that's a challenge now, and it's going to be a challenge in the future as we, try to continue to get the community involvement that we want. And I know one thing that they said has been a challenge is that they've got the last, I don't know, I guess 3 or 4 years, they've gotten a fair amount of people that have moved in who maybe don't even have their kids in school in Elgin, or they've brought them in from all different places, either in Texas or some, obviously from out of state. And so they've mentioned, a lot of transient move-ins and things like that. And so that makes it more challenging when you have that situation, and so, when at a place like Highland Park or a place like Aledo and those kind of places where they have had an established culture for years now, when people move in, they either fall in line or they just don't make it, because there's a certain culture that's already there. And, in a place like Elgin right now, there's been a culture that's been here, but it's grown very fast recently. And so there's a lot of different things that are going on right now. And we're trying to work on making it what they had a slogan is one town, one team, one family for several years here now. And that's one thing that they really try to stick to. And with a lot of people moving in who haven't been a part of this community, that's a challenge. So we're working very hard with that, trying to build that culture the way that it needs to, where you can sustain success. And it's not just based on, hey, we have some talent this year, and so we're going to win some games in this sport or that sport, or on the boys' side or the girls' side this year. And so, we've gotten out in the community, and we're really pushing our camps for kids to come and be involved with. We've done things like, have a youth league and middle school nights at our varsity football games. We've done that at basketball, and we've done that in baseball and softball and stuff like that. We've gotten out with in the community, especially with our youth leagues, both in the fall and in the spring. And so we're really working to tie those things together. I just met the other day with the president of the youth baseball league and softball league, and talking about what we can do to work together, because those kids are going to be athletes at our high schools, and whether it's baseball and softball or it's other things too. A lot of those kids are going to be athletes in other sports. And so those kids are going to be our kids, and they're our kids now, and they're our kids at the high school one of these days. And so we want to bridge that gap. And so just spending time with them and getting to know them is really big. We've also worked on getting a presence on social media too, because that's the world we live in now. And so it's constant when people say, "Oh, I didn't see it on Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is." And so we either direct them to it or whatever. We everybody that calls up, we direct them to our website too, because that's kind of where our world is now. So we've done a lot of things like that to try to connect the community, all the way from people moving in, the young kids, all the way up through the current athletes we have at high school.
Now it's the spring. You're starting to see your athletes, how they're developing. You've been there almost a year. What do you think it look like for the fall?
Well, we're definitely going to be much improved, and a lot of that's just from the simple fact that we've been in the weight room a lot, and we've also had the kids doing a lot of stuff in their speed and agility that hadn't been happening recently. COVID affected everybody a little differently, and one thing in Elgin is that there was a lot of kids that either didn't play or they weren't here at the school. They were remote. A very, very large percentage. They were all remote in the fall of the previous year, and then in the spring there was a handful here, but there wasn't a lot. And so we went into this last season, with almost nearly all of our football players, 125, whatever we had, was most of them hadn't worked out in 18 months, or very minimally if they had it all. And it wasn't just necessarily lifting, it was also just general athletic movement, speed and agility thing. And so we came in a very difficult situation to try to win 5A football games right out of the gate. And it was tough. And but we talked about it. We didn't just say, oh well, we're not going to do it, because that wasn't what it was about. It was about the situation we were in, and having and then understanding where we were at and how we could work our way out of it. And so we had lots of conversations about that. And we also talked about not using it as an excuse, but using it as an understanding of what we needed to do to get back to what, being competitive. And one of the things that was great is that, we got on the same page as a coaching staff. And then we brought in, I was able to bring in our strength and conditioning coordinator, which they didn't have that position here before. And got a fantastic one in John Norcott. And he and I sat down and had some conversations about what we needed to do to, where our kids were at and where we needed to get them, and how we were going to go about that. And it was going to take a while. And we knew we couldn't do it in just the football season. It was going to take, because there's a couple of years at minimum to catch up to where those kids need to be. And so we had to get through the football season by getting better, getting faster, getting stronger, and all those, while keeping them healthy and staying on the field. And you have kids who are playing 5A football and haven't been on any level really, but trying to get them out there on the field and keep them on the field, not being injured and stuff. We had to attack that in a little bit different way than any of us had before. And a credit to Coach Norcott and the staff. Did a fantastic job of keeping our injuries very minimal, and while gaining strength, and speed and agility along the way. And we became competitive by the end of the season. So I was really proud of that. Happened more quicker than I thought. And then since then, what we've done is bring the kids in before and after school ever since the season was over, at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, in the morning and in the afternoon. And get them speed, agility work, as well as strength training. And it's been a world of difference from where we're at whenever we started. And we also have a lot of young kids playing for us in the fall. So this coming season, I think we're going to see a different Wildcat team on the field. And so obviously it doesn't happen overnight and doesn't happen in a year, but I think it's definitely going to be a big improvement from last year. And really got to give these kids, a lot of praise, because they bought in and they've showed up and they've busted their tails. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in the fall.
All right. So one more question before I let you go, Coach. This is the hard one. Tell me one thing about Heath Clawson that most people don't know.
I would say one thing that probably only most of the people that are close to me and know me pretty well know is that I was very fortunate to have a dad who could do a lot of things around the house. He could fix a lot of things. He did a lot of construction work or whatever, and he was really good about figuring out how to do things. And so for example, we bought our house here in Elgin back in July. And, I've done things like change the ceiling fans out, some light fixtures. I did concrete work and extended our porch. Right now, I'm replacing our fence, and so I'm doing all the fence work myself. Done a few other things at the house. I replaced, sinks and faucets, things like that, other fixtures. And so just to update it a little bit here and there. Also put in a walkway and stuff. And so there's a lot of different things that I got a chance to learn over the years from my dad that has allowed me to kind of do things around the house that are not only enjoyable to me. I really enjoy doing those things. I would kind of wish I had more time sometimes to do them, but it's not only that I get a chance to do those things that I enjoy them, but that I actually can typically do a pretty good job of it, so, but it saves us a little money along the way. So that's fun. So that's probably something that most people don't know, that I think I could do a lot of things around the house, or if I don't know exactly, I can ask somebody, and then I can, do it myself. So I guess I'm a little bit of a do-it-yourself.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Coach, and best of luck in the 2022 season.
Thanks a lot, Tony. I appreciate you having me on, and it's always good to talk to you. So excited to see this fall. So hope everybody gets a chance to check out the Wildcats this year.